Hello, namaskar. Welcome to my Candid Conversations once again, which I have every Friday. I started this during my lockdown period last year, and this is my 48th conversation today. And today we have a very, very interesting guest. His name is Shanti Bhushan Roy. He's a cinematographer, he's a writer, he's a spiritualist, and he's also a Reiki Grandmaster. But other than that, he has a lot of interesting how would I say, a lot of interesting films to his credit. One of his most important film was also called The Ballad of Rustam, where he was the cinematographer, and it won a special mention at the Oscar. His support base is tremendous. As a filmmaker, he's got some very interesting projects in hand. He's worked with the likes of Amir Khan, Nana Patekar, and who's who of the cinema industry. A very reasonable name in the industry, an awesome person, well established. He's a foodie, so that's why I love him very much. But more than his being a foodie, he also has a lot of talent, and that talent reflects not only in his work and in cinema, but also reflects when you meet him or you spend time with him in terms of a very interesting energy that you get from him. I've known Shanti for almost, how would I put it, almost more than a decade now, and we worked on a couple of interesting thought processes, including one project, and I have found him to be extremely industrious, hardworking, bright, chirpy, and very soulful. So I'm sure all of you will enjoy my conversation with him today, and I'm waiting for Shanti to join me. He has already come in. Hi, Anupriya. I hope you're feeling well. Please take care of yourself. You are also a very precious person to us.
Hi,
Shanti,
Ashish.
Shanti,
Hi.
Vanakkam, Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Thank you so much.
Your voice is
so
echoing.
much.
My
Voice is
voice,
echoing.
my voice is
My
echoing.
voice is echoing.
So
No, I
you'll
can
have
hear
to.
you
So
properly.
You'll have to.
no, no, no.
No,
What
no.
I can, what I can hear you.
What I can hear you.
Your voice is resonating. You
Your
will have
voice
to
is
set
resonating. You will have to set your settings right.
I have to set to what?
your settings correctly.
Your
Are you on
settings
headphone?
correctly. Are you on headphone?
No, I'm not using headphone.
So if you're not using headphone,
So
then
if you're
you'll have
not
to
using
use your
headphone, then
headphone.
you'll have to use your headphone.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I can wait for
Doesn't
a
matter.
couple of
I can wait
seconds.
for a couple of seconds.
But you already have
No.
But you
200
already
plus
have
people
200
waiting to
plus
listen
people
to you.
waiting to listen to you.
But I can hear you properly. You can't hear me properly.
I
Is it?
can't. What is
I
happening is
can't.
that
What is
whenever I'm
happening is that
talking,
whenever I'm
my
talking,
voice is
my
echoing and
voice is
repeating again
echoing
and
and
again.
repeating again and again.
It's very jarring and
It's very
disturbing.
jarring and disturbing.
Okay. Hmm.
Get yourself organized.
Get
Doesn't
yourself
matter.
organized.
While I
Doesn't matter. While I
sip a cup of hot
sip a cup
chocolate for
of hot
myself.
chocolate for myself.
Okay. But I think headphone would be really problematic, right?
अरे तुम तो
अरे
cinematographer
तुम
हो
तो
तो
cinematographer
technically
हो तो
थोड़ा देखो ना.
technically थोड़ा
What
देखो
is
ना.
happening is
So
that
I'm
the
What is
voice are
happening is
echoing.
that the voice are echoing.
So maybe you are on two devices here or one device.
I'm only in one device.
I'm only
Where
in
will I
one
go on to
device.
do?
Where will I go on to do?
Okay. Let me see why.
So friends, a
So
technical
friends,
issue,
a
but I'm
technical
sure
issue, but I'm sure
it'll be sorted out
it'll
shortly.
be sorted out shortly.
Is it better now?
No,
No,
Not at all.
no. Because
no.
I'm talking, your
Because
voice,
I'm talking,
my
your
voice
voice,
is echoing.
my voice is echoing.
Hmm. Okay. Let me put it on mute right now.
All those people who are
All those
following
people
us,
who
can
are
you
following
please
us,
tell
can you
me
please tell
if
me
my voice is
if
echoing
my
or not?
voice is echoing or not?
Yes, it is echoing.
Yes, it is echoing.
Rajini, thank you so much.
Rajini, thank you so much.
हेडफोन लाना होना से
Headphone लाना होना से
दूसरे वाला.
दूसरे वाला.
Some technical issue.
Some technical issue.
It says his end only.
It says his end only.
Can you hear now?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud
I
and
can
clear.
hear
but
you
why is
loud
my
and clear,
voice
but
echoing?
my voice is echoing.
So I'm on headphone.
Let me try. I don't know. Normally that doesn't happen. So maybe.
It's okay. I'm on headphone. I'm on headphone.
Hello.
I'm on headphone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was much better now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better now. Much better now because I think there's a problem with your phone only.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, now it's going absolutely fine.
Okay. Let's start then.
Ranjini, is my voice echoing now? Is my voice echoing? It
To
still
me, it
is.
does not.
I think it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let me try with the headphones now.
Hi, Ashishda. Can you hear me?
Say that. Speak again, please.
Hi, Ashishda. Can you hear me properly?
Much better.
Yes. So actually, this is. I can hear you, and your voice is absolutely clear now.
Is it?
Yeah. And I'm just checking out my head. Can you hear me properly, nicely?
Much better. Much better.
Yes.
No,
So yeah,
but why is my voice
Why is
echoing
my
again?
voice echoing again?
it must be because of some issues. You have to switch off computer or some second device. Any
All my
second device which
devices,
is.
every
It's
device is
okay.
switched. All my devices are switched off.
Okay. It happens. It's fine. Sometimes internet also plays a lot.
Now it is not happening. No, then it is happening again. Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll.
Headphones on. It's much better.
Okay. Now, Ashishta, can you hear me properly? Nicely, better.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. It's okay.
Yeah, there you are. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. I can hear you irrespective very clearly, Ashishta.
Hi, Sanjeev. Sanjeev, welcome to Candid Conversations. Can you just tell me, can you hear an echo somewhere or the other, please?
When you are wearing headphone, your voice was clear. now it is echoing a bit. It's like hollow sound, that's all. A little hollow sound, but every phonetics, whatever you are saying is clear to me.
It doesn't matter. We'll continue with as it is on an as is where is condition. And it's Instagram, फिर आ जाएगा यार. No big deal. Let us enjoy our conversation, which is far more important than anything else. Because
And you're talking to us. You're talking to a cinematographers. The cinematography is about cinematographers are all about visuals. So let's enjoy our visuals.
So we have actually ended up spending or wasting rather 10 minutes in this technical, useless stuff. Anyway, Shanti, good to see you finally.
Thank you so much, Ashish. It's been long overdue, and we have been talking about it for some time. And thank you for inviting me over to your Candid Conversation. I have always loved your
Shanti,
intellect.
I've known you for such a long time. I've always enjoyed my conversation with you. We've eaten together. We've traveled together at a couple of places. We've enjoyed our journey together.
Yes.
Of course, I'm reconnecting with you after some time, but that doesn't mean the heart has always been at the right place. The soul has always been the right. The connect has been perfectly there as it was earlier.
Absolutely.
We are taking over from where we began. So our journey will continue.
Yeah.
These are pandemic times. Situation is very bad, very unfortunate, rather sad as of now. The world is turned upside down. New permutations and combinations in our own lives has started functioning, but more importantly, our roots are firmly entrenched like the way it was. So irrespective of how much we grow, how many storms may wither, how many storms may go, as long as the roots are strong, we shall continue to flower and flourish, right? Year after year and time after.
Absolutely.
So that's the state of affairs as far as life is concerned. Now, Shanti, I know you for such a long time. I want to know, of course, others don't know because you have had an amazing, interesting journey, Shanti. When we first met, we met on the sets of OS, right? And OS we met before that, I think. We met
during
much
before.
But OS turned out to be a great film because it won a lot of awards, it went everywhere, and the story was phenomenal. It's a pity it was not released in India for whatever circumstances. But on the global sector and the circuit, it was absolutely amazing. What I want to know is how did your journey, you are an MTI guy, you started, obviously from your early days, you have had interest in cinema. Did you have your interest in acting or camera work?
It's an interesting question, Ashishta. Acting I never thought of. But when I went to my father that I'm going to join FTI and going to learn filmmaking, then all he said that join acting. Everybody is from there. He knew Shatrughan Sinha quite well. He knew many others. And they said they are from there and the entire medium is about actors. You should join acting. I said, by looking at me, do you think I can join acting? And I have no interest. I was always fascinated by photography, the stories. And I remember in my early childhood, I used to sneak into my grandfather's room and I used to read all his Puranas and stories from Katha Sarit Sagar, stories from Shiv Puran. So that's how my interest in stories grew. And as a child, I had lots to visualize and then I ended up being in a hostel where it was all about stories. And I was really very young. In 5th standard, I had gone to live in hostel. It was all about stories. And I used to go mad. I used to go into trance when teacher used to share something with me in class, like you see in the film. I used to go in trance in the stories, and I would forget what is being written on the blackboard, what is being written by about the subject. I think when I look at the hindsight, my fantasy and my journey as a storyteller started then. And then usual middle class person delved into science. I never wanted to be an engineer or doctor or anything. I graduated, though I always wanted to go do arts. But in middle class family, nobody allows you to do arts. And my father is an engineer, is a gold medalist engineer. And he said, my son will do arts. No way. You have to study science. And that too mathematics. I said, no way mathematics. I used to like Stephen Hawking a lot. I used to like those astronomical theories and black hole. So I joined graduation as a physics student. I did my physics honors. And there also, I had no inclination in calculation. It was all theoretical physics which interested me. And then later I joined software. FTI had closed its door for some time. And in 99, 2000, I landed up at FTI. So it's a long journey from science, being a science student to a software engineer, to a dropout, then to a cinematographer. It's a long journey.
You are from Patna, right?
Yes, I'm from Patna. Yeah.
You're a Bengali from Patna.
Yeah.
So tell me, you grew up in Patna. Were you born in Patna too? And
yes, the famous. I was born in Patna.
Okay.
I don't know about others. I was born in Patna. I was born in the Patna Medical College Hospital. And I was born with incubator in my as my destiny. So I was I was kept in oxygen because I had. Then I tell my students and share this story that I had so much hurry to come to this world and tell my stories and be part of the stories. I had to leave my mother's womb as soon as possible.
So तुम incubator में claustrophobia में हुए, इसीलिए तुम्हारे में you have the rebel in you. You always wanted to break free. That's what I feel.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me, during the FTI days, when you became ambitious as a cinematographer, you know, there are a lot of camera persons who influence. Everybody looks up to someone as a role model that one fine day, I want to be as famous as him, right? I'm sure there are people in the cinema who must have inspired you. Would you like to share some of those thoughts of those people who have inspired you?
My God, in my +2, I read about Santosh Sivan. There was a big article which had come in some newspaper. I'm forgetting the name of. Probably it was Hindu, and it was about one of his films. And before that, I used to watch films, and films by Satyajit Ray had great influence on me. Subrata Mitra is one of the cinematographers whom I admired and whom I had great fortune to meet and spend few days with him as well. When I had written exam for SRFTII, he was the teacher there who took my test. So there is a very nice anecdote about this. If you allow me, I can tell you this.
Yeah, go ahead. That's all sorry, yeah. That's what we are here for.
Fine. Yeah. So process is when you write the exam, written exam, you are called for, you qualify that exam, then you are called for orientation program. That is a 7-day orientation program, which these film schools of this FTI and SRFT repute will ask you to come for. And then you are being oriented in cinema because nobody knows cinema from birth. So everybody should be coming on the same plane. And I had applied for cinematography and I landed up in front of Subrata Mitra. And, old man, and before going to his chamber, I was shivering. My legs were literally shivering. But I composed myself, young man. compose myself. I had a portfolio of only 15 pictures with me, taken with old Russian Zenith camera, with only one lens, which I had, 50 lens. That lens was also fogged. It was, and he saw the pictures, and he liked them. He liked them. He liked the pictures. Then he asked which camera they are taken from.
Yeah.
They seemed like Russian camera. They said, yes, it's a Russian camera. And what lens? Then I said, 50 lens. So then he asked me all sorts of technical details, and because I had done it, I told him. Then he told me one thing: go and sketch 3 pictures, one portrait, one landscape, and one whatever you want. And I was given a pencil and a white sheet. I sat and sat and sat. I could not draw a thing because I'm not a sketch. I cannot draw. The drawing was not one of my strengths. I came back to him. I said, if I am being judged on the basis of my sketch to be a cinematographer, I have already failed your test. So please allow me to go. I will go from this test because there's no point, right? Yes. Then he smiled and said, you can't draw? I said, no, I can't draw. He said, what can you do? I said, I can do matchstick figures. Then he said, can you do 3 things? Can you make 3 situation? And just want to understand what is your sense of perspective? Foreground, midground, background. What is the idea of your long shot? How do you compose? Basically, idea is to how do you communicate with your director or the producer? I immediately did it, and he was happy, man. So this was a really nice anecdote, which I always remember. That I told him, he was shocked. How can you say that you want to leave the campus and leave the interview for being a cinematographer? That too in front of me. It's fine.
So when did you get your first break? After FTI, what was the first break that you got?
Right after FTI. I graduated in 2005. I shot my diploma in 2005. And it was a very absolutely and fabulous journey I had. I did a lot of mistakes, Ashishda, but I was one of the most adventurous guys in terms of doing the experiments. I was failing in many of the tests which I was doing, but every test made me a better person, better cinematographer, better understanding, better filmmaker. So as soon as I graduated, I landed up a very nice documentary called Nero's Guest, which is right now on. The documentary is about famous journalist and activist Mr. P. Sainath and his work.
Yes.
So I started shooting that documentary, and it was a fabulous break for me in the sense of being with the iconic person, and also what documentary does to you, it is very close to your heart.
Yes.
And also there was a responsibility given on me being a main DOP that I have to choose teams from across the country because production wanted different flavor from different landscape.
Yes.
So it was my entire FTI training where I had broken down all the processes of creative process. I could communicate and apply it in this documentary. So that was and then after that I started shooting. I went for independent film called Shuttlecock Boys. That is the first film I did right after graduating on 16 film, which was termed as which got released much later, and it was termed as the best independent film of 2012. And in between, so I started, I could not assist anyone the way normal people do just after FTI. I started shooting documentaries. Some corporate film started coming in. I started traveling. I started enjoying the process of being a cinematographer and being with people, being with the landscape. And then that was after Shuttlecock Boys happened. The major feature film which happened after that was Ajita's Ballad of Rustam.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that because that's a
Yeah.
phenomenal film, and it has won special mention at the Oscar also. And this was way back in 2012, which is almost 9
Yep.
years ago. And that film actually did raving work. And since I know Ajita too, she's a crazy director, and I just
Yeah.
love her intellect, and I love her perseverance and her temperament too. It's not very easy to sit down and talk to her because she takes whatever she takes. She moves like a charge of the light brigade. She doesn't look back, left,
Yes.
right. No.
Yep.
If she's going straight, means she's going straight.
She's a
But,
lioness
Jhanti,
that way. Yeah.
oh, she's a tigress without doubt, a lioness or a tiger
Yeah.
without doubt.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you is that, there are times when you start your cinema journey. There are a lot of external influences, right? What was very interesting about you, as I gather now, is that you got your first break immediately post your graduation.
Yeah.
And your
I was
first break
fortunate.
came in. Yeah. So not only that, you got a free hand, or was there someone to direct you? If you had a free hand, then you could play with it because with your thought process of what you may have learned or what you may have experienced, because that happens to be a great process of learning. And
Yeah.
I can already see that it was a success story because you learned so much that Ajita was so impressed with your conversation and everything that she decided to get you to be the executive producer for the film, and work with her jointly. And what a film it was! It's absolutely amazing. Have you always in life, writers impress you, chefs impress you, people impress you.
You
There's
impressed me a
always
lot.
that's a different story. But what is more important is that you look up to a role model in life, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that role model is a model which is like a sense of inspiration. Agree?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
say, oh, arey, acha, and you look up to that person that sort of inspires you.
Yeah.
My role model has never been heroes, of in their own
Yeah.
right, or celebrities. My role model was my father, right? My role model has been young friends whom I've learned so much from, especially people who have continued to smile despite all odds and bring in energy to themselves. Are you there? You're frozen. Okay. So, what happens is that when you see these role models, you ultimately end up, there are always focal points and characters around your life who influence you in some way or the other, right? I personally of the opinion that in life there are no mistakes, only lessons, because you learn through your
Yes.
journey every minute, every moment.
Yeah.
What was it who was your role model?
My role model has been two guys who have been shaped me a lot. One is my mother, because
Yes.
she absolutely brought. We are three boys. Brought us up single-handedly because my father was always busy with his work and he had a hectic life and he had a lot of pressure to handle. My mother has brought us up.
Your
with her
voice is
strength.
not very clear, Chanti. I think there's a technical issue.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your voice is breaking up a hell of a lot. I think there's a network problem.
Is it? I can hear it very well.
So go ahead.
Can
It's
you
all
hear
right.
me? Can you hear
I can
me?
hear you, but it's breaking up. The voice is breaking up a hell of a lot, but doesn't matter. We'll continue. So if need be, we'll do another session next time, but let's continue this one.
Okay. So my voice is clear, Ashishda?
Much
I can
better
go
now. Yes,
slow.
thank you.
Yeah, I can go
No, it's
slow
much
as
better
well
now. It's
because.
okay. Much
Okay.
better now. So I didn't want to
Yeah.
stop the flow while you were talking because,
No, that's
that
fine.
should
I
not
can
be right.
recollect. I have a habit of as a filmmaker, we always have habit of recollecting and restarting from where we can. It's fine. You can interrupt me.
Ah,
So my role model, as I told you, has been my mother. I have got my strength from her.
mhm, mhm,
In any situation, she has taught us to be filled with strength and be compassionate in any
uh-huh,
situation.
mhm,
That is the biggest lesson which I have got from her. That is because being an artist, being filmmaker, being a successful person, whatever you get in life, it is your humbleness and your honesty which
mhm,
always keeps you grounded. So
mhm,
in my life, she has been my role model,
mhm,
and there has been very many cinematic role models. Like when we
mhm,
joined FTII, there has been many cinematic role models. Mr. Ray has been a role model. Mr. Ghatak has been a role model. Dada had been a role model. Sven
mhm,
Nyquist has been a role model. Roger Deakins has been a role model. You know, and also I'm a spiritual person. I have great interest in philosophy as well. So there are many philosophers, and also Swami Vivekananda, Ramana Maharshi, Jiddu Krishnamurti. All these people had a great influence on my shape. The biggest shaper of my life has been my work which I have done on ground uh, during doing the documentary work, which made me traveled all over country, which made
mhm,
me meet real people,
mhm,
and their extraordinary resilience and their strength, their
mhm,
courage on daily basis, how they deal with their environment and surrounding,
mhm,
has been the biggest role model and
mhm.
made me a better and humble person.
So in initially days, you must have actually enjoyed doing Satyamev Jayate because it has a lot of uh, philosophy and it has also a lot of a human angle to the whole thing. How was your experience working with Amir Khan?
Wow. To be very honest, Ashista, when I was called for to be the cinematographer at Satmev Jate pilot episode,
Uh-huh.
where we were shooting a fabulous documentary on female feticide.
Yeah.
That's when the journey started, and we did not know. I did not know that time that Mr. Amir Khan would be our producer and he would be our anchor. One thing, Ashish, I can say that with pride, that uh, I have never been awed by the stardom or the glitz and glamour of my industry at all.
That I'm very well aware of. Yes.
And so, for me, human beings are more important, and their conduct
Yes.
is very important.
Yes.
And and whatever you heard about Amir Khan, Mr. Perfectionist, turned out to be absolutely true. A man who could give his more than 100% about each and every subject we brought to him from ground, each and every
Mm,
story which we brought him to the ground,
mm,
from the
mm,
ground, from the research and documentation team. I was the chief cinematographer outdoors. We were shooting entire country, traveling and shooting entire country, bringing real stories, real people, which shaped the entire Satyamev Jayate, and the entire
mm,
studio shoot was
mm,
done on the basis of our stories.
mm,
And my little, whatever interaction I had, I found him absolutely committed, absolutely detail oriented. Like I do details in my cinematography,
mm.
man has capacity to hear.
Yeah, I've seen you shouting around during the shoot of Host many times. So I know how much you would lose your cool and at the same time you would still maintain your balance. That was brilliant.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. So, Mr. Perfectionist, he gives his 100%, Dada.
Yes.
Let me tell you very honestly, because it's a candid conversation, I can be really candid.
Yeah,
when
be honest.
we
That's the
were
whole idea.
we were we were we met him for the first time. The cinematographer from FTII, I was in a space of judgment. Ki, okay, this kind of subject, I don't know how would he react or how would he respond, whether he will be able to understand it. But I was humbled by his humility, hard work, and compassionate nature. People say that he did not cry, but he was genuinely affected by entire Satyamev Jayate stories, and each and every person whom we got, he was genuinely affected by them. So it was amazing
That's quite
journey working
amazing.
with him. It was an amazing journey. One got to learn a lot from that man. In spite of being such a big mega star, he would treat you like an equal, and he would be absolutely prepared. You have to be prepared.
Yeah.
One thing is there, Ashish, with him, you need to be absolutely prepared with your own self, because he would ask
Yes.
1,000 questions and you have to satisfy his questions, and none of the questions are nonsensical, or questions are absolutely based on rationality and logic.
So that's
It was a great
that's
journey.
that's a great process for learning for you, especially when you're working with
Yeah.
these so-called stars, because they are stars. Everybody's a star in their own right. There are plenty of them who are stars, and
Yeah.
yet they are very unassuming. I've also heard many stories about Amir being a person who's very grounded, no airs, very serious, suffers from serious OCD. I've also been told about that, and suffers from very serious OCD. And there are quite a few people like that, I can imagine. How was your experience working? Because you worked very closely with Nana Patekar also. And I believe you shared a very interesting relationship with him, or you still share a wonderful relationship with him. I've always admired him, not only for his acting, but him overall as a human being. I've also had the opportunity to meet him on a couple of occasions. So, what was your experience with him?
Nana, it's very interesting that you are now. When I'm laughing, the pop-ups are happening in front of me. So first day on the set, not on the set, on the test shoot,
Ah,
Nana, my director, Mr. Shekhar Jha, introduced me to him.
ah.
Shanti Bhushan Roy. He has done Satyamev Jayate. He's a FTI pass out. Nana did not even look at me. He said, okay. Acha. He said, Sudhanshu, I'll go from here to here, there. Frame it. Let's see.
Ah.
And I said, okay, ready. We were shooting in Goa. Entire film was to be shot in Goa. On the Panji, where those casinos are there, on the bank of
Yes.
that lake. We started shooting. And we did 2 test shots. And he went by his own, and he devised his own thought process. And I captured it beautifully. Then he comes back, and he sees he till now he has not said hi to me. He sees the monitor. He sees, and Sudhanshu will meet you at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, because that was the call time given. So that means later I was told that I have passed the test of, of being his cinematographer, because then we had heard stories about him, and as when we were growing up in our childhood, he was a star, and definitely he had done some rebellious, path-breaking stuff, which really
Yes,
had
without doubt.
adrenaline rush
Yes,
in the audience, and I have seen people shouting and clapping in the hall
yes,
with his dialogue and everything, and he was
yes,
our generation's almost hero, like a rebellious hero.
yes.
And so I admired him. And but he was not happy with me because he wanted some other cinematographer. and he did not like that his choice is not being considered because director wanted me, and director Mr. Jha really backed me. No, since our creativity matches, our wavelength matches, because for the director, his cinematographer becomes his eye, and his
Yes.
colonel, the most trusted person on set
Yes, it is.
for
Yes.
director is the
Yes.
cinematographer.
Yes.
And Mr. Jha had that trust in me. He said, I cannot let that my trust go. You know, so we had first day shot. Nana called his own Steadicam operator. We decided a long one take, 4.5 minute shot. 12 take happened, Ashish Da, with the Steadicam operator. The take did not go well. I took camera on my shoulder. I said, nothing going, enough. I took camera on my shoulder. In first take, the shot was okay, with perfection. I'm not boasting about myself. You can ask
No, I
anyone
know.
from the
I
team
know
member.
closely.
And when Nana saw the, again he saw that shot on the monitor, he comes, क्या काम किया है? मस्त काम है. Then I said, okay. So we had that kind of, he treated me like a junior, and I treated him with respect because he is exactly my father's age. We had our to and fro's, like father son. But at the end of the shoot, he was the first person, when he saw the entire film and he saw the final print in preview theater, he came and hugged me and said, Shanti, what a wonderful work you have done. And I'm sorry for giving you all the troubles on the set. So that was a compliment.
See, amongst Nana, Amir, quite interesting names that you worked with, who have
Anil
you enjoyed
Kapoor.
working with the most? How was your experience with Anil Kapoor? Because you worked with him very closely too.
Thorough professional. Absolutely thorough professional. A gentleman, no air. Because these guys, when I have studied FTI, these guys have been working for 30, 40, 30, 35 years.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
definitely they have much more experience about about their work than I have. They know how to catch light. At least Anil knows how to catch light. What is the frame, and even Amir does, even Nana does. All these guys are very good with their preparation. So you have to be prepared. And they will see you, scan you through by just the body language of yours. Thorough professional, he would come, say, what is the shot? Shanti, किधर खड़ा होना है? Oh, कौन सा light पकड़ना है? Which light I have to take on my face? Which is my key light? And he would exactly put his mark. That would put my situation, my position, and my focus puller position very. We had to be really on toes because he would not miss his mark. We should not also miss our mark because their time, they come with a professional approach. We should also be the thorough professional. So that working with these guys have done one thing to me. My level and my growth has been multifold just because they have been around as well.
You see, you've also worked with Discovery, you've worked with Hotstar, you've worked with various OTT platforms, and you have a couple of projects which are some very unusual cinema projects which you are working on. Unfortunately, the pandemic came, the shoot got delayed. Same thing has happened with us. Most of us who have interest in cinema or filmmaking to some extent. What are the projects that you're currently working on?
Uh, can I rewind myself and give you a little history to it? So what happened when I was working with Satmev Jayate, the process was so intense, and working with Ajita, because I really gave my more than 1000% to many of the projects initial years. It's not that I'm not giving it now, but these projects like Rubaru Roshni, which is running on Netflix right now, which India Today termed like the best documentary to be watched on Indian OTTs right now.
Yes, yes,
2020. So all these
yes.
projects has been so intense for me, so intense, and they not only intense, and they have taken my growth as an individual, as a human being, to some other level.
Mm.
So I deliberately chose to go towards light-hearted stuff. So before pandemic stuck, I did couple of comedy films where I just wanted to relax, shoot some Bollywood songs, and be easy on myself. So as a cinematographer, my journey needs to be vast. My canvas is vast because everywhere I'm learning, I'm doing things out of my comfort zone. So right now, Dada, the three things which are happening, very beautiful things. One is I'm working on a very personal documentary on mental health.
Very
That
good.
is what
Yes.
it mental. It's a very personal journey where I will tell you more about it when we meet. It's already the shoot I'm doing all by myself.
Mhm.
Two, one Tamil web series which has been approved by major OTT platform. One Hindi web series again by major. I am not supposed to say the platform name right now because of the unless it is
Yeah, yeah,
goes
I
on floor,
understand.
and two fabulous feature films in Hindi. Uh, Again, it's in various stages of pre-production.
Mhm.
It will go. So I'm really excited about this, the slate which I'm working on, and they are all very innovative stories and also commercially viable because we were targeting before pandemic hit us. We were targeting massive release in theaters, and we were working towards that. And so these are the three, four things which are in the pipeline: web series and feature films. And we are also I'm also working on an international project,
Mhm.
festival film by a friend of mine in Chennai. She's a fabulous filmmaker again, Lina Mani Miklai. Ajita, again, I and Ajita will be collaborating again soon, as
Mhm.
soon as pandemic gets over. So these are very exciting time as a content creator for me. And also, I'm also thinking, I'm preparing for my directorial venture at some point later next year.
So you want to change from being a cinematographer to be a director too, or you want to be the director come the cinematographer?
It would be nice to direct a cinematographer.
Yeah. So that would be very interesting because you will exactly know you are in sync with yourself then, and playing two different
Yes.
roles, A as the director and the your understanding of the camera according to your mind. I think that's a great thing to do, because if you can play two different roles and at the same time.
They are two different, very challenging roles. The
Exactly.
history of cinema has never been kind to cinematographers turned directors except Santosh Shivan, Rajiv Menon in
Yes.
India.
Yes.
Ashok Mehta also could not made much headway in spite of being a
Mm.
fabulous cinematographer. And also world over, there are very
Yes.
few cinematographer has turned into successful directors.
Yes.
But this trend has started because the medium is giving you that chance right now because it is the content has democratized itself. It is about your
Mhm.
story. It is not about any more about big money because earlier big money needed to be handled, big stars needed to be taken into account. Because of
Mhm.
advent of OTTs, it has become stories,
Mhm.
and it is an exciting time for all of us, like you,
Mhm.
me, and everyone. And that's where I have started my own startup called Gentle Giants Motion Picture Entertainment to promote good storytelling as well.
Fantastic. Now, this has been your brief cinematic career. We have precisely 10 minutes left. 10 minutes we
Okay.
wasted while trying to sort things out. However,
Okay.
because I want this conversation to stay, and normally the platform says that after 1 hour it automatically gets
Gets
disconnected,
cut.
and
Yeah.
then I cannot sort of save our conversation, because a lot of people should at least watch your conversation post this is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are also a hardcore foodie, I know that. I mean, that's my favorite
Yes.
subject. So food, we must talk,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. Of course.
And food also plays a very vital role in everybody's lives. Some people may not just just live to eat or eat to live. I eat to live. So, and I also feel that there's a lot of barakas as far as food is concerned.
Yes.
So, and I love to cook too. So, and more importantly, I love to feed. So tell me something about your whims and fancies about food. There are a lot of people who love food, but they're very stuck up about particular dishes. What is your all-time favorite food?
My God, it's a very tough question. Very, very tough question. I cannot tell you my favorite food. I love food. I and I love food of different reason, Ashish da.
Yes,
And if I'm in Bombay, I want to eat Bombay street food. If I'm in Goa, I want to eat Konkani food, nothing else, no continental, nothing. I want to eat Konkani food. I'm traveling south, then I have to eat. And south has so much different variety. People don't know. Only they said dosa, idli. Bangalore,
no, no, too
idli.
much.
Bangalore food is absolutely different than Chennai food. Chennai food
Completely.
is absolutely different than Kerala food. Kerala food is absolutely different. The duck roast and upper, oh my God, one can die for. You go to and king prawn, what do you call it? Uh, king size prawn. What do
The
you call
king
it?
prawns, the lobsters, the,
The
the king
lobsters.
prawns.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. And you go to backwaters of Kochi in those houseboats. They
yes,
make such
yes.
fabulous prawns,
No, the
and in
best
the
part
moonlit
is best part is
moon.
cruising in the backwaters towards Elipi
Yes.
and others,
Oh
and
my
going
God.
towards, and just sitting there, especially in the backwaters, and sitting there on the boat and getting a fresh
Yes.
catch, cooking in the
Yes.
river, and at the
River.
backwaters, and eating.
Yeah.
You're making a
Yeah.
meat moli with appam
Yeah.
and stew. Oh, let's not talk about it.
Yes.
It's just amazing when you
and
talk about food.
and
It's a
on
different ball game
Dada,
altogether.
on top of it, I had this surreal experience once. Backwater and the entire. You see the cinematographer in me, foodie and cinematographer
Yeah.
combined. The night is moonlit, and you see the entire expanse of sea in front of you, and there's a Malayalam music which you don't understand is going on and being hummed by the machwaras while cooking the prawn, and you are sitting with a glass of scotch and waiting for that prawn to be, and and you're salivating. All you can do is salivate.
I'm reminded of a very interesting time many, many years ago, Shanti. When you're talking of backwaters, I take a fancy to grandmother's cookings. Normally, I don't. So I had gone to Bombay for an official program during my political days, and I had been given a very prestigious assignment to stay in Mumbai for about 2 months to do a major R&D for a particular project. Uh, and I was staying at this place called the Retreat in Malad. It used to be a very fancy hotel, beautiful property, you know, and Mud Island more than it was. I was staying in Mud Island. So across Mud Island, you were surrounded. It was like an island, and that time it was very clean, very many few people, and you had these huge bungalows there throughout on the journey, and the hotel was absolutely beautiful. I had a villa to myself for 2 months. I stayed there. I used to walk out because I've always loved street food. Lo and behold, one fine day, I was walking across to one of the Koliwada fishing villages. You
Wow.
got all these Koliwadas would come in, and when I would love to cook, I would always tell the chef that, look, I want my fresh catch. अगर बॉम्बे में अगर
Yes.
आप सीट के पास नहीं बैठो तो अगर आपके पास फ्रेश कैश नहीं है फायदा ही नहीं मतलब और इतना बड़ा बड़ा
सही बात.
प्रॉन आता था और फिश इतनी
बिल्कुल.
जबरदस्त आती थी we would love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I befriended this wonderful lady. She's an old lady, of course, but she was running a small shack, and she used to make the most amazing koli vada fried fish, which I have not eaten for a long. And she used to fry the mackerel. In Kerala you
My
call it
God.
the island. And she
Yeah.
used to,
Laila.
and they used to, and the only masala she would use is kanda, which is a little bit of onion, and she
Yeah.
would use loads of chilies, you
I'm
know,
I'm salivating already.
and the masalas, and then she would just let it be and fry them. But the skill was the skill in which she was frying because it came to her very naturally.
Yeah.
Her son was a fisherman, you know. So the old lady, she invited me because and he had a decent trawler. It wasn't a small fishing boat. It was like a trawler which had one room. And it also had a
Yeah.
kitchenette because they would go deep
Yeah.
sea fishing for a long time. I'd never experienced what sea fishing is. So she took me and she told me that, look, I'll also come with you because we had become great friends.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying my chatting with her. And she was using a typical Mumbai Hindi, which is very interesting because she couldn't speak Hindi properly. But she was very warm. She would sit, she would sometimes, pat me on my cheek and actually feed something special for me. And I would make a point that I would eat 3 times to 4 times a week at going there, not bringing
Wow.
it,
Wow.
you
Wow.
know, because that was the experience. Because more interesting was the human angle and the conversation you could have.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Shanti, she took me, she says, let's go. So I was called because the fishing trawlers sometimes fish late at night, and there's also night journey or early in the mornings, right? So there was a high tide. Obviously, the boats were not moving in. Then when we moved, there was a sea warning. So finally, we decided. And in good weather, she says, "Look, because from there to go to Ajanta, Ellora is not too far. So she says we will go in that direction." And she's my guide, huh? By the way, the old woman. Her husband's. I mean, her husband. She didn't have a husband. I don't know when she had one, but her son was there. Nice, good fellow. So we went, and they got the fresh catch in the river from the sea,
Wow.
right?
From the
And
sea.
those nets
Yeah.
they took out and everything. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah.
That fish, she just took this thing, स्टोव में उसने fish को fry किया उसी तरह से और जो fresh catch which came out straight from the sea, we would sit down and actually enjoy, right? I That time I used to enjoy my drinks once in a while. So we had also
Yeah.
taken a case of beer, and
Yeah.
my ice box was there. My assistants were with me, and we all had a nice little picnic because at least 20 people could fit in that trawler. That was the size. So it was a big trawler, heavy duty, and we
Nice.
cooked. I tell you, I've
Wow.
never had such fish in my life. So these are reminiscences of food, and there's a story. So I was just trying to tell you ki, that was my experience of enjoying
Yeah.
food in the sea and just loving every bit of it. So it's quite
That's what
interesting.
I also love about, yeah, that's what I love about my work as well, like
Yeah.
travel, and then you go to any place and I go for the local food. I don't eat in hotel. I go
Yes.
for local food, local cuisine, authentic food. I befriend a local lightman, a local production manager, a local line producer. I say, please give me your home food. I'll cringe and beg.
Well, Shanti, I think on that note, it's almost 9 o'clock, and we have
Okay.
another. I'll still take the risk of 1 or 2 minutes because we'll have another session. We've not even completed food. We've not even completed our
Okay.
spiritual journey, which is very important to talk
Okay.
about spirituality because
Yes.
that's a very
Yes.
deep
Yes.
subject. It has influenced all of us. It's influenced you.
Yes.
it's continuing to influence you as it is continuing to influence me. But friends,
Yeah.
this was my brief but wonderful conversation with Shanti. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I promise to bring back Shanti again because we need to talk very soon on multiple facets. And he's one person with whom I can converse for hours and hours without even getting tired. It's a great fun, and
Yes. Thank you, Ashishta.
I
Thank you, everyone.
I
Thank you for
hope.
watching.
And no, thank you so much for you, and to everybody and all the viewers who've joined me today in the conversation. I look forward to many such interesting conversations. Well, friends, thank you so much. This was my 48th episode, and 49th episode is next week. And then comes my landmark episode, and that is the 50th episode. And for my 50th episode, I have somebody very, very interesting. I'm not going to disclose that name today because let it be a pleasant surprise. I'll do it that one day before my 50th episode because for me, it's a personal landmark. More than anything else, it's just a figure. But my journey of learning from all these people whom I've interviewed because they've taught and given me much. I've met some amazing people in this country in this continued journey. I've spoken to them. I've learned so much from them, and I'm sure you also have enjoyed. I mean, it's thanks to all of you and your patronage that we're continuing to. I'm motivated to do this, and thank you so much. See you guys next week. Stay safe, stay healthy. We are in
Thank
troubled
you.
times at the moment. I can only pray for
Yes.
your welfare, which I will continue to. God bless you all. Bye bye for now. Thank you so much,
Bye.
Shant.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
I feel very
Thank
bad
you.
cutting this conversation abruptly.
No, it's
Actually,
fine. We can continue at any point of time. It's fine.
I just have this fear in my mind that I don't want this conversation to be deleted. I wish there was.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could have extended for another hour. We can, if you want, I can save this cutoff and then continue with our conversation. I'm okay with it.
Please do that. Please, I'm okay with that.
I
I
don't
have
have a
time. I
problem.
don't know. I don't have a problem either.
So let me see. I'll try if we can.
Okay.
And
Okay.
otherwise, we will meet again and
Okay.
talk soon. All right.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Thank you,
Shabbat
everyone. Thank
khair.
you so much.
Khuda
Thank you, Ashish
Hafiz.
Das. Thank you. Thank you.
Alvida. Sat Sri Akal. Copy to all. Bye for you.
Thank you. Bye. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. Yep.
Yes.